What is going on, guys? My name is Nestor Sanchez or at Masternode1. Actually, I'm at Crypto Dilo now. This is my boy, Rye the Crypto Guy.
What is going on, guys? My name is Ryan Prenders of Rye the Crypto Guy. Thank you guys for tapping into today's podcast, and hope you
And
guys could pick up some gems.
absolutely. And we are the Masternodes. We appreciate you guys for hopping on as always. Go follow my boy. Right now we are live on Instagram, so you guys can just click that follow button right there, Ride the Crypto Guy. Lots of great cryptocurrency content. And make sure to stay till the end to hear some additional resources that we have for you guys that'll get you more zoned into this cryptocurrency space.
Yes, today's topic is going to be talking about crypto is falling, but why are we not, or are we concerned? Me and Esther are going to be answering a couple of your guys' questions today in terms of where we think the market's going to be headed and what we believe is in store.
Definitely. So first things first, I would say I'm not really concerned. I know this stuff happens all the time. Bitcoin is very cyclical, so it follows a certain cycle. It's not just up all the time, as many people think. And I think the reason they think this is because they only hear about Bitcoin when it's doing good, right? And this is on purpose. So banks, big businesses, they choose to say a lot of great stuff about Bitcoin when things are topping out, when things are going really great, in order for people to jump in during that time. And what these businesses do during that period is they start to sell. So these are some cycles that we go through with the media, with Bitcoin, with stocks, with all these other different asset classes. And it very much is kind of, in a way, you could really kind of see what is going on by looking in the past. So this has happened before. Um, definitely a lot when we're looking at all different types of assets. So like I said, it's something that we have to go through. It's happened to all different assets, tech stocks, real estate, and it kind of just goes to show that this is normal. This stuff happens all the time. It could be directly correlated to the economy, like kind of like right now. There's not a lot of people and work due to COVID, due to all these different things that are happening just in the world, all these layoffs. So there's not a lot of money flowing into all these assets. In fact, a lot of people are selling to kind of stay afloat, to hold on to cash. And this is just the cycles that we go through. And I think this is actually good because I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys are familiar with nature, right? The way it works is, sometimes there's a forest fire, right? And in order for the next vegetation to kind of go through, they need all that dead plant matter, all the carbon, and all the basically all the stuff from the fire in order to thrive in that next run. So whenever it's spring again, now all these plants have that nutrients to kind of grow. And I feel like this is kind of the same thing, everything's on fire, stuff is collapsing, but this is what is needed in order to create that regulation, in order to create, good standing, in order to have great exchanges. And this stuff has to happen in order for the cryptocurrency space to kind of grow as a whole. So me, I'm not really that concerned. Like obviously stuff happens, like with FTX, that was pretty insane. But if you are keeping these standard protocols of not using an exchange as kind of like your wallet or bank account, but instead using it as an airport. One of my mentors had actually said, you want to use a cryptocurrency exchange like an airport. You don't stay at the airport, right? You go, you get in, and you get out of there, right? To the actual destination. That's what it should be. You should be buying your cryptocurrency, getting it off those exchanges, and having control of it in order to actually be more secure with your cryptocurrency.
Yeah, I think you touched on some pretty valid points there, and going back to the original question, why are we not, or are we concerned? Um, I think from an investor's perspective, it's concerning because we're losing money in our portfolios. But from a trader's perspective, it eases my concern as an investor. Like if I was looking at it not knowing or not having any trading knowledge, I think I would be concerned like everyone else right now that has their crypto on like exchanges or on cold storages. Um, But for me, being a trader, I understand that the market is just going through its cycle. It's cyclical. These things are supposed to be happening. Now, the negative news that's around cryptocurrency right now is something I did not expect. But I don't think anyone really expected, a 20 something year old to take billions of dollars and destroy people's lives. But at the end of the day, I believe that it really is still just going through the motions. It's going through what it needs to go through. We expected it to reach around or I expected it to reach around the $10,000 to $12,000 range. That's exactly where it's headed to. And so with that being said, me being a trader and understanding that everything is cyclical about this market, I feel like that really eases my concerns, and I'm really not concerned about where the future of crypto is headed. I believe after everything that's been going on with FTX, Celsius this past year, and a bunch of like other small companies, BlockFi, um, I believe that it may be a while, um, or maybe not so much a while, but and maybe a little bit before things get back on track and people start having faith again in the cryptocurrency community, cryptocurrency space. But I believe in the meantime, things are still going to be thriving. Things are still going to be working in the motions. You're still going to be having improvements with, these exchanges, improvements with protocols, improvements with new coins, NFT integration. This is it's not going anywhere. It may be working in the background, but it's still going to be working just the way it did back in 2011 when it first came out. It was working in the background until 2016 when it started to become more popular, 2018 when it really gained its peak. During that time, died down a little bit, and then again back in 2020 picked up again. It just it's just going to be working itself in the background, always constantly improving, always working to find a way to become better, so that way once the next time it comes around where you're going to have a boom, people are going to be like, oh, you know what, I actually really like this protocol. Last time during the last bear market it didn't do so well, but this time around it's really just running on all four cylinders. It's really pushing it to the max, and actually I could see the potential that this project has.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you kind of touched on the next question is what direction do we expect crypto to go? And then you said, hey, it's gonna kind of we expect it to kind of hit, lower lows. And I think you're kind of on the money right there because of all the things that we were kind of going over, got interest rates, inflation, all these things that are happening in the background that cause this because of the global economic standpoint that we are.
Mhm.
And like we were saying, it's kind of cyclical. We don't expect it to just hit up and just forever go up. And the reason we get these numbers, 10 to 12, it's not just from thin air. We don't just think these things, but we
Mhm.
actually go back to past market data, check the lower lows, the lowest that it's hit, or even zones where, hey, this is where movement happened back then. So this is where we expect these buyers to come in and sweep, just put in a lot of liquidity in order for it to go up. So yeah, I think Ryan's right on the money. I think we still have a little bit lower to go. We are in a bear market. There is a lot of stuff going on, especially if interest rates go up again. What that kind of means when interest rates go up, the dollar gets stronger. And because the dollar is stronger, other assets that are compared to the US dollar are relatively weaker, right? So
Mhm.
that's kind of how things work. So vice versa happens, right? If inflation starts going crazy like it did the last 2 years, remember that, right? During COVID, inflation was insane, high rates, 9%, 8%. We were hitting very high rates. And what happened with our assets? Well, they went up, right? So you can kind of see the different correlations of things happening. Interest rates go up, assets go down, vice versa. And yeah, we expect some more interest rates to go up just to kind of control that inflation that happened the last few years.
Yeah. And getting back to it, how I, mentioned BTC's, price range or targeted price range of 10 to 12,000. And then going back to how you said that there is a, it's all about analytics. We look at the data, we look at past history of where we think the market is going to be headed. It's this is a generally agreed upon range for a lot of traders that I know. Um, but when it comes to like, okay, but how'd you get that data? It's all about psychology, when it comes when there is or whenever you're looking at a market, you can see in the market itself people's reactions to certain price movements. Everything is all about psychology whenever it comes to, learning how these markets work. And I think that's why we have the generally agreed upon price range for Bitcoin because of that. Now, going back to it, I do believe that we are going to see um, some type of movement soon. How soon? I'm not a genie. I can't go ahead and say, yeah, it's going to happen, right now, or it's going to happen, in a couple months from now. But I personally believe that we are going to see some type of sharp movement soon, and especially with the recession around the corner. I mean, basically we're in a recession already, and it's crazy how much the our government is downplaying the fact that we're in a recession. Like literally, we talk about this all the time on our I am Academy meetings, where they quite literally changed the definition of what a recession is just to ease consumers. Like it's crazy. They changed the definition in real time, like in 4K. like, and so thinking about that, I really believe we are in a recession already. However, it's gonna hit even harder going into next year. So make sure you guys prepare for that because whew, yikes.
Yeah, and I think that's totally true what you're saying. It's like more psychology rather than, okay, this is all strict numbers. And that's what's crazy. A lot of people don't understand that the things that run the market, they're big businesses, first off,
Mhm.
banks, you got institutions, you got laws and all these other things. But underlying all that is greed, fear, um, even sometimes envy, right? You see other friends, people pocket watching, and you're seeing, oh, my friends made $10,000 on Bitcoin. That's crazy. I have to hop in now. This is only gonna be, it's only gonna last for a little bit. I have to hop in. That's where FOMO comes in, and you see all these different emotions that you wouldn't think. People always think of investors and traders as like, hey, they're math guys. They're all running the numbers. It's all about percentages. In
Mhm.
reality, it's a little bit about the percentages, 100%. But a big part of why these percentages work out is because of all these emotions that humans feel that actually run the market. So it's pretty crazy, um like looking at that stuff from like a personal perspective, because you feel all these feelings, right? I've felt all this, I've gone through the whole cycle, literally, from all the way at the bottom to where it's like, oh, I'm very scared, I don't know what's going to happen to Bitcoin, and then I saw it climb and I was like, whoa, this is crazy, I have to make more money with this. And that's where I felt greed, and then it started climbing even more, I started putting in even more, and I had to tell everyone, right? And all my friends were like, okay, that's interesting. Maybe I'll look into it. And they felt it at the top, right? Right when Bitcoin hit 69,000, I had more people asking me about Bitcoin than now. That's pretty insane, right? So why is it that they're asking me at the tops, but not when they can get it at the cheapest? And that is kind of, once you break out of that mold of, okay, I'm letting my emotions run my investing, that's when you start to become a real investor, and someone who actually makes good moves within the market.
Yeah, I think you're right. The whole thing that you were saying is, they're asking me at the tops. It reminds me of that image where there's like two windows. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like Bitcoin above, and then shows a price of like 69,000. A bunch of people are in line for it. And then when it's like 18,000, there's like no line for it. It's like no one wants it, but like, why wouldn't you want it at a cheaper price? And speaking about Bitcoin, that moves us on to the next question. Is Bitcoin still the lead in the market? If not, who is? And this is pretty interesting because when you're looking at, market movement and, who's really up in the market, You always see Bitcoin as number one. Right now, Bitcoin's market cap is 329 million. I'm sorry, billion, 41,226,000. And right below that, oh, actually, 100,000 million billion. Yeah. And right below that, we have Ethereum at around $154.4 billion, which is roughly half of what Bitcoin's market cap is. Now, whenever we're looking at the flippening event, that's what everyone's talking about. When is the flippening going to happen? And that really refers to when Bitcoin is going to, I'm sorry, when Ethereum is going to flip Bitcoin and take the number one spot. I think Bitcoin is still going to remain the lead for a while. However, I do believe one day we will see a flippening. But what's weird is I don't think it's going to be Ethereum. I think that there's going to be some other coin that comes up out of the blue, out of nowhere, and just completely takes over the game. But I don't think that's going to be soon. I personally think the flipping is going to happen sometime after all the BTC is mined. Once all the hype around BTC is up there and really all everyone is kind of like just locked in whenever it comes to like who owns BTC and how much of BTC they own. I think the flipping event could happen after that. But what do you think, Nestor?
Yeah, I'd actually have to disagree with that point. For those of you guys who don't really know, Bitcoin goes out in cycles, so that's kind of what he was talking about. They basically have a strict kind of supply. So Bitcoin has a certain amount coming out. I think it's right now 6 point something per block, 6.25 Bitcoin
It
is
might
coming
be.
out per block, and then every 4 years it cuts in half. So there's a smaller amount every single year that's coming out in terms of Bitcoin. So when all the Bitcoin are mined, it's going to be around 2,100 around there. And we know that because we could literally do the math, which is crazy. What with the US dollar, we cannot do that. We don't know when the how much US dollars being mined. I mean, minted, I guess. In reality, it's not minted at all. It's just put it in the computer. um, so we don't really know with the US dollar, but with Bitcoin, we do know. And that's going to be a long time from now. And I think with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, I would say in general, it moves a lot faster, right? So I think that's just because the fact that it's global, the fact that it's online, a lot of these different things play huge factors in how fast these things develop. So when you think about back in the day, they had no internet. How could they have all these great ideas out there? How could they have all these people collaborating on one, global thing? But right now, anybody can collaborate. Anybody can make amazing cryptocurrencies using everybody in the entire world. So I think it's going to move a lot faster than we think. Just like the internet, right? It's gone absolutely insane from its conception, right? Before it was just, hey, let's play little games on computers, solitude. Now we can literally play Call of Duty at 180 frames per second, and all across the world while talking to each other. So it's like pretty insane, just the development in terms of video games. So you can imagine the development on a global scale for a global system with monetary policy. So like there's a lot of things that I feel like is going to develop so fast, and it's just going to blink, and we're going to be like, oh, okay, there's all this stuff that could happen right now. But I think there's going to be a lot more bloodshed from before then. But like what Ryan was saying, I don't even know if it's going to be Ethereum, right? There's a lot of problems coming up with Ethereum right now, in terms of like scaling and getting better. But ultimately, I think they're one of the ones like front heading all this, right? They're the ones like basically getting all these people to collaborate on one system, which is Ethereum system. And it could be very, very great because they have all these people on there. But if something is better, what are they going to do? They're going to move, right? So I think that's going to be huge. Like Ryan was saying, it could be something completely out of the blue that's just like, you know what? This system is just better. This system just makes more sense. This system is cheaper, it's faster. So why wouldn't we utilize it? And I think what Ryan is saying is right on the money as well. I don't know. I think there's going to be a flippening for sure. Bitcoin is not meant to be like an all around cryptocurrency like Ethereum. Bitcoin was meant to be kind of like a store of value, similar to gold. When you think about gold, where it is right now, gold can be used for some things, right? In terms of like technology, you can use it. You can have a gold plate of something, and it would be super cool. But in reality, you can't really use gold, like as you would with silver per se. Silver has a lot more use cases than gold, and it even though it costs more for gold, it's not the best. And I think a Bitcoin is kind of like similar, you can use it to have a store of value, you can use it to send and receive money, but you can't use Bitcoin to like even exchange right now with Ethereum, right? You can use Ethereum to exchange Uniswap. You can use it to exchange different tokens. You can use it to run different applications. You can use it to game. You can use it to trade, to buy NFTs. With Bitcoin, you can't do that. So I definitely think that it's going to have some flipping, and I think it's going to be a lot sooner than we expect.
Hmm. Now, moving on to our last question of today's podcast. When do we think the market will pick itself back up? And now, this is a very interesting question that we actually talk about a lot in our I am mastery classes. Essentially, what me and Esther are a part of is something called I am Mastery Academy, that teaches you, A through Z on how to trade cryptocurrency stocks, how to learn e-commerce, how to travel, how to become a social media influencer. If you guys ever have any questions about that, please reach out to us and we'll go ahead and get them answered. But this is something that is brought up a lot in our sessions. And whenever we're talking about it, we always say, always do your own research. Everything that we talk about is, it's not financial advice. It's just us kind of chanting and ranting about things. But I believe that it could maybe happen around the next happening, which isn't scheduled until June 17th, 2024. If we look at past history and past data of charts, we generally see this like huge upward momentum during a happening event. Uh, this kind of leads to a downward spiral in the market, followed by consolidation, leading up to the next happening event, and then we see another skyrocket. So what I think could happen is the same thing. Right now we're in that weird downward motion, that bear market. I believe that eventually we will move into a consolidated state, most likely within 2023. And from there, we would then move into a kind of pumping up motion, leading up until June of 2024, when we'll go ahead and possibly run into another bull market. Now, again, this is all just based off of looking at past data on what is happening during the happenings before. Always make sure you guys do your own research, and nothing is guaranteed. I can't, like I said, I'm not a genie. I can't predict what's going to happen, but generally this is what happens after a happening and right before one. So I believe we're still going to see the same movement. But what do you think, Nestor?
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you on that position. I don't know if the dates are the exact. I mean, like you said, no one can really predict this stuff. But yeah, generally we see consolidation right now. I think we're gonna hit a low pretty soon. I would say like within the next, I would say year, we would definitely be hitting the, bottoming out, and then we kind of go up on a little uptrend. I don't think we're gonna see explosive growth like we hear about from Bitcoin. We usually see these explosions, but I don't think we're gonna see that till, like you said, that next happening. And like we kind of know and understand is Bitcoin kind of leads the cryptocurrency market. So when this stuff happens, if Bitcoin is rising, then we're going to see a lot of other altcoins rise. We're going to see Ethereum go up as well. And yeah, it's pretty cyclical, like we kind of mentioned in the beginning. This is all according to plan, which is crazy. If you kind of look at the past data and project it out to the future, we're seeing it's kind of basically falling into what we were looking at before. And we're gonna, bottom out. I don't think we're gonna stay at the bottom very long. So dollar cost averaging right now into Bitcoin, into cryptocurrencies that you believe in and that you've researched would be very interesting, especially during this time, because like we said, I don't think it's going to stay at the bottom forever. I think it's going to slowly move its way up, and then we're going to see boom, an explosion once this halving happens. And I'm pretty sure we're going to get a lot of bullish news. You know, I think countries definitely gonna integrate it into a lot of different things. Imagine if you're able to pay your taxes with cryptocurrency. Well, if a portion of the population decides to do that, then you can understand how much it would have to grow in order for that to happen. And the US is not one of the biggest countries in the world, but I think it has a lot of say onto what happens for the rest of the world. So once we had the US integrate all this stuff, I think all these other countries are not going to be falling far behind. So I think, yeah, it's going to be, consolidating for a bit. And then we're going to see this explosion followed by people accepting it, people adopting it, people, using it a lot more. And then that's just going to push it even farther.
Mhm.
And then, like we said, it goes in cycles. So it's going to go up, but it's not going to go up forever, guys. So this is something that I didn't have the foresight to look into before. And this is something that I'm changing when I kind of enter this space again. Well, I'm already in it, but like, going back into dollar cost averaging and all that stuff, I am going to take profits on the way up. And that's just something that I didn't do before, but I did in a way. Like when Bitcoin was all-time highs, bro, I went on so many vacations, but I didn't necessarily take profits with intention of getting back into the market at lows, you know. And the reason I was doing it, I mean, it was because I was more of a beginner, right? I wanted to make my portfolio very simple. I didn't want to have to deal with taxes. I didn't want to have to deal with, all that mess. But now I understand if I did deal with it a little bit better, well, I would have been able to be way farther ahead into how I can do this. And I want to be a little bit more active in terms of investing and kind of putting money into my portfolio and basically making this my job. So I can't just be passive um, when investing for my position. And I cannot say that for you. I don't want to be projecting things onto you guys because you guys all have different scenarios than I do. So ultimately, that's something that I'm going to fix and kind of work with later on. But definitely, I do. I'm very excited, honestly, for right now. For those of you guys who are not excited for this journey that we're going through, I think you should understand cryptocurrency a bit more, and then you'll be right there with me.
Yes, most definitely. Well, that wraps up today's podcast. Thank you guys for tapping in. Much appreciated. As always, remember to follow and subscribe to our social media accounts on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, and Twitter, all at the Master Notes. Our visual podcast experience can be found on YouTube, and our audio podcast experience can be found on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and all your other favorite podcast sources. Remember to visit our website, www.themasternodes.com, and subscribe to our email list to receive the latest and greatest cryptocurrency information.
Absolutely, guys. And we also have other resources for you, like our Discord. That Discord is going to give you guys the announcements when we're going live. We're going to have news information on there, things you need to know for sure. We have an FAQ section that is very underrated, I would say. You can get in there and basically get the basics of what you need to know with cryptocurrency based on the questions that a lot of people ask. We've taught so many different people, so we understand kind of how this process works, how they kind of think about this stuff. So we put all that great information in that FAQ section. So if you're interested in that, send us a DM using Discord, send anything that says Discord, and we'll send you that Discord link so that you guys can be a part of that great community. And then we also are a part of a university, like Ryan was saying. It's an online university that is global, that helps people learn about cryptocurrency, about stocks, about e-commerce, and basically gives you, takes you from zero to hero all in one course, all in one go. And it's not just, hey, watch this video and you'll be fine. We have educators that are top tier, that are teaching you live, that are going into trades with you, that are helping you kind of understand the different software that we have in order for you to be as profitable as you can be. And if you are interested in that, you could just text us. You can send something right now, in the comments, just put I am, and we'll get you plugged into that. As always, guys, we appreciate you guys for being on our live and also on our podcast. Have yourselves a great day and try your best to choose kindness.
Yes, thank you everyone for tapping in. Much appreciated as always, and bless up.
Here at the Masternodes, we are not making any claims as to income you may earn. Before entering any agreement, please use caution and seek the advice of a professional advisor, such as attorney or financial advisor.
Please ensure your own research is done before investing any money into the market.